How does the make and model of my car affect my car insurance? It's one of the common questions that a lot of people ask and just don't quite understand, because it's not just the trim or the model or the safety rating, all of that stuff. Let's dive in and go over the 5 main pieces that the car will affect your car insurance costs. Number one is there's data behind every vehicle. So every vehicle that you purchase, the make and the model, those are determine how many claims are happening with those. So yeah, it could have a safety rating of 5, which is the top, but if there's a ton of claims and a ton of accidents with that model of a car, it's going to be more expensive to insure. Versus some of the cars that don't have a lot of claims or a lot of accidents, then they're not going to be as costly. The second piece to that is that the actual cost of repair, because it's gone up significantly, the newer vehicles are 8 to 9% more expensive to repair than an older vehicle. In these cases, there's all these sensors and these warning lights and computer systems that are built into it that make it that much better of a vehicle, but that much more expensive to repair. And it's not just that. The biggest piece that insurance companies are worried about is the bodily injury limits. So how likely is someone to get injured in a car accident? For example, from 2019 to 2021, the 98 Chevy Malibu beat every car by at least 98% for bodily injury. That means that car is going to be that much more expensive because there's a lot of injuries that come in accidents that happen. Where we look at the Nissan Altima, they're still high, but they're only 65% more bodily injury than the average car. And the Kia K5 had also 35% increase of the average bodily injury. Now that's on top of the Kias having their reputation lately of being stolen more often. That's since been fixed, but it's following suit with all of those combinations of risks that insurance companies have to take. And I know you guys are going to ask me, Mark, what are the lowest 3? Well, Subaru took the cake because they have the Accent and the Forester. Those were the best 2 vehicles, also along with the Honda Passport. The majority of those were 49 to 57% lower bodily injuries than the average car accident. So those are going to be less expensive. Keep in mind, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the best deal. Insurance doesn't just base price off the car. It's the person, profile, the credit, then score. The vehicle is one of the main factors. The third is the trim model. If you have a trim model that has all of the extras, the turbo on it, the skirting, the special paint with the flakes in it, that's going to be more expensive to insure. It's naturally a larger repair cost. You're paying thousands of dollars more for this vehicle, and to get those same parts with those same colors and all of the cool things that you want are harder and more scarce. If you had a bumper that was damaged in a car accident, you would imagine it's a couple $100. But if you had the trim model that had the flake paint that molded into the side of the car that just faded up, that's not going to be easy, because now you have to have a specialty person repair that. Yeah, they can get the same bumper, but it's probably not going to match the rest of the car. So you have to have specialty people go in and change the fade so that it looks like it was brand new. Trust me, there's a lot of complaints out there for people that went cheap and they don't even look the same. This is like a dark blue and this is a light blue, and the mechanic says, you know, unfortunately it's just because one's newer, one's older. There's ways to fix that. But to get the correct repair is having the right person. That costs that much more for those different trim models. And the fourth, I think we're on 4, 5, 4. Is the year of the vehicle. That makes a difference. The year of the vehicle really determines the safety factor and also the repair cost. So sometimes there are cars that are being made that aren't as expensive and the repair costs aren't as costly. Let's use a Chevy vehicle, for example. If there's millions of those bought versus a Honda whatever, and there's only hundreds of thousands of those bought, the parts are going to be more readily available. So the year of the vehicle will play a factor because it also determines the safety factor of that year. They constantly change the cars up, the different trims, the models. If it's a year that changed the body style, commonly they're changing the frame of the vehicle as well. If that's the case, then they may have a different rating or safety factor than the car that it was the year before. But Mark, all of this is great and fine and dandy, but I don't want full coverage. I don't need the car covered. That's fine and dandy as well, but like we said, the car crash test rating is going to matter a lot. And if for some reason you add full coverage, they've got to plan on that. Fortunately, there's some fraud out there that starts off with the lowest price. They pay a small bill, they have an accident, and they quickly throw full coverage on it, wait 3 days and file the claim. There's ways that, and don't get me wrong, you're going to get caught if you do that, most likely. That costs part of the factors. So they have to consider, okay, which cars are happening? Let's take Kia, for example. They have been listed as one of the most stolen vehicles in history. They unfortunately had a safety error where people could just plug in a device, they could steal a car, and they'd go around and drive and crash them. They would just treat them like they were go-karts. And there's a whole gang that actually did that. Since then, Kia has fixed that issue and had updates. There's a security lock system that they built into their cars now, and they now have done improvements and recalls on the vehicles, but that doesn't fix the reputation. So certain car manufacturers have certain reputations. Let's take Acura, for example. Almost every single Acura is listed as a high-performance vehicle. They do that on purpose because they want to be known as a performance company. Vans are listed as Wagons, and Wagons are less expensive because they're not as hard to insure. They got more safety features, less bodily injury damage, and less people getting hurt, and all of that stuff is built into those vehicles. So when you look at your standard wagon and then a van, they're almost the same vehicle as far as insurance goes. Overall, those are the main 5 things that insurance companies look at your car when you're going to add car insurance. Your number one thing that you should really worry about is what coverages that you're going to add to that. Because there are different vehicles and different profiles of people, you should speak with your local agent to find out what's the best fit for you. Every company is different for every situation. That's why I'll put a link in the description below. If you're looking for an agent that wants to go through that, they can shop you with multiple companies without having to have 100 phone calls. Like I said, the most important piece is to know what coverages you should carry. I made a car insurance 101 video that you should check out as well. If you already know all that and you're ready to go and you just want some discounts, I also have a discount video that will help. I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.